So a Packers fan walks into a bar. No, for real. There are really Packers fans, and they do go to bars. It's crazy, I know. Just kidding. So he walks into a bar in Kansas, where the Chiefs are playing. And the Chiefs are doing really well this year. And the Packers fan likes to talk a little smack against, the Chiefs. Just to rile people up. In a playful, humorous way. But some people take their football very seriously. I'm from Florida, where football's a religion. We don't talk about other teams. We don't even walk into bars where other teams are, have fans. But apparently in Kansas, that happens sometimes. But one person that was in the bar didn't take too kindly to his smack talk. And he let him know with his fist. Yeah, that didn't end too well. At all. For either of them.
This is in the District Court of Greenwood County, Kansas. Case is entitled State of Kansas versus Merle A. Burton, 23 CR 171. Would counsel announce appearances, please?
May it please the court, the state appears by Jill Gillette, County Attorney.
Gail Jensen for Mr. Burton, who appears seated to my right and connected with the court by Zoom.
We're set today for preliminary hearing. Mr. Jensen, is your client still wishing to have a preliminary hearing today?
Yes, sir, please.
All right. Ms. Gillette, are you prepared to proceed to preliminary hearing at this time?
I am, Your Honor. I need to know if the defense is asking for sequestration of the witnesses or not.
Please.
All right, who's going to be your first witness?
Jared Helkenberg.
All right. If we'll put everybody else back in the waiting room, and then we'll bring you back in when it's your turn to testify. All right, if you could please raise your right hand. You swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Sure.
All right, Ms. Gillette, you may proceed.
Could you please state your name for the record?
William Jared Helkenberg.
And how are you currently employed?
I work for the Woodson County Sheriff's Office. I'm currently the undersheriff.
And now you were off duty when this incident happened, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And do you recall what date this incident happened?
I believe it was October 10th of 2022.
All right. And where were you at when you encountered the incident that happened?
I was at Benny's West Side.
Okay. And were you there just for personal pleasure or personal means?
To watch the Chiefs play the Raiders.
Now, at some point an incident happened. Were you present for that incident?
Yes, I was.
All right. Now, can you tell us what was going on at Benny's that evening when this incident occurred?
There was a lot of people there to watch the Chiefs play. The bar was pretty packed.
Okay. What was going on with Mr. Burton and the alleged victim in this matter?
Michael was running around the bar and talking a lot of trash on the Chiefs. He's a Packers fan, so that's what he does. We do the same to him when the Packers play.
Pardon me, Your Honor. Can we have Michael identified, please, by full name for the record?
Who are you referring to?
I'm referring to Michael Bennett. I don't know his.
I'm sorry. All I heard was Michael, and I'm not sure the record.
Your
sorry.
Your audio was cutting out.
I'm sorry. It's Michael Bennett.
Okay.
And is Mr. Bennett the alleged victim in this matter?
Yes.
And now after Michael was running around, what triggered the interaction between Mr. Burton and Mr. Bennett?
I watched.
Objection, Your Honor, that's calls for speculation on the part of this witness. What triggered any confrontation is in the mind of the individuals involved, unless Jared has recently got himself a degree in psychology that I am unaware of.
Negative.
So I don't mind him testifying about something he heard that might have begun a problem, but just what triggered is, I think, a question that this witness is not necessarily qualified to answer.
The objection is sustained.
What was said between Mr. Burton and Mr. Bennett?
When Merle approached him after he got off his bar stool, he asked Michael if he'd ever been punched and grabbed a hold of him.
Okay. Now, did Michael ever touch Mr. Burton first?
No,
And did you see a punch happen from Mr. Burton to Mr. Bennett?
yes, I did.
Okay.
With Merle's right hand. I'm sorry.
Okay. And was it closed fist or open fist?
It was closed fist.
And what happened with Michael Bennett after Mr. Burton punched him?
Michael basically grabbed him in a bear hug and they fell to the floor on Merle's back.
Okay. And then what happened after they fell down?
Within seconds, the staff at Benny's was in the middle of them, separating them, ran Michael out one door and Merle out the other.
Okay. And did you ever see anyone else hit Michael Bennett?
No,
Did you follow anyone outside?
I did not. No,
And did you remain inside until the officers got there?
correct. Yes.
Okay. Now, at any time, did Mr. Bennett threaten to hit Mr. Burton before this incident happened?
Not that I witnessed. No.
And did you ever see Mr. Bennett punching Mr. Burton?
No. Just grabbed him.
And that was after he got hit.
Correct.
And did you see Mr. Burton's glasses fall anywhere?
I don't remember if I saw his glasses fall. I thought he had them on his face, but like I said, when staff was in the middle, I couldn't see anything, so I just went back to the game because they had it.
Okay. Then did Mr. Burton leave the restaurant as well?
Yes.
And did you see him leave?
I saw him go out one door with some of the staff and Michael go out the other door with some of the staff. That's all I saw of them.
Okay. Then were either of them bleeding when you saw them?
I don't recall seeing any blood.
Okay. And did you give a statement consistent with your testimony here today?
To Deputy Blake Fisher, I did, yes.
And was there any reason for Mr. Burton to have gotten up from his bar stool to go over where Mr. Bennett was?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. I will pass this witness, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Gillette. Cross-examination, Mr. Jensen.
Thank you, sir. Jared, where in the bar area were you seated? Were you up against the west wall?
Yes, I was against the west wall on a stool,
Back towards the wall because you were
back
watching.
towards the wall, overlooking people sitting at the bar at the TV above the bar.
Okay. And where was Mr. Burton?
He was to my left, or I'm sorry, to my right, which would be the south, very south end of the bar.
He was seated at the bar.
Correct.
In order for Mr. Burton to get to the restroom facilities, he would have to get up and walk past where Mr. Bennett was, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
So when a question is asked, was there any reason for him to get up and go that direction? It would quite possibly be to use the facilities, right?
To use the facilities or to go to his car. That's correct. I'm sorry, I misspoke earlier. That was not my intent.
All right. Well, I just wanted to make sure our record's clear.
Yep.
Now, there had been, you indicated Mr. Bennett had been rushing around, like, quote, like he usually does. Was
Yep.
it normal for Mr. Bennett to be, shall we say, stirring things up if a ball game was on?
Well, it's not unusual for him to talk trash on the Chiefs when they're playing.
Okay, and that's what he was doing.
Yeah, and
Uh,
he was also horsing around with Terry Chastain's kids. Her young kids were there.
okay. Had Mr. Bennett been consuming any alcoholic beverages?
I don't know. I didn't see if he was.
Okay. Do you know how long you'd been there when this event occurred that you're describing?
No, I don't.
Likely an hour or less.
Oh, how long I had been there?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, probably 30, 45 minutes.
Was he there? Was Mr. Bennett there when you arrived?
Yes. Yeah, the place was already packed when I got there. I got there late.
Okay. Was Mr. Bennett consuming beverages containing alcohol?
Again, I never saw him. I wasn't paying attention to him. I'm sorry.
Okay. So Mr. Bennett and Mr. Burton have this initial confrontation. You say Mr. Burton grabbed Mr. Bennett, then Mr. Bennett came at Mr. Burton and they hit the floor, right?
No, that's not what happened.
Okay. Excuse me. You said a punch was thrown, then Mr. Bennett grabbed Mr. Burton and they fell to the floor, right?
Correct. Yes.
One punch.
Yep. Just one punch.
Landed where?
To the bottom side of Michael's face.
Okay.
Michael's taller than Merle.
And he immediately started bleeding?
I didn't notice any blood. I didn't see any blood.
Ever?
Not. I can't remember if I did. I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Was there blood on the floor?
Not that I paid attention to or noticed. No, I don't know.
Now, you indicated that when they hit the floor and Bennett was on top of Burton, the staff went to work and got them separated and they went out different doors, correct?
Yes.
My recollection is there's 3 doors that would have been available. Is that right?
Well, the garage door was closed.
Right. And then there's the west front door, the east front door, and then there's what that is often closed. Normally
There's excuse me. There's 2 on the front side of the building.
Yeah,
one of them is
that's what I'm
always,
talking
yeah.
about.
Okay, yeah, one of them's always locked. It's never been unlocked that I've ever seen.
Okay,
That's
so
the-
that
in
door
the-
wasn't in use.
Hey, I
That
can need you both to please not talk over one another.
Time for us to remember the rules, Jared. The east of the front 2 doors that's almost always locked was not opened in this event. Is that correct?
Correct.
So one door that somebody went out of was the door that faces to the north on the front of the building. Where's the other
Yes.
door that somebody went out of?
On the south side of the building, on the south side of the bar. It goes out to the back patio.
Right. Okay. Who went out which door?
I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Do you know who it was that was involved in breaking up the guys on the floor? And then go ahead.
It was Tian Mitchell and Terry Chastain.
Are they the only people?
They were the two I remember seeing come over.
Okay. There weren't any male people at all involved in this?
No, sir. Other than Mr. Bennett, Mr. Burton.
Okay. So one went out the front, one went out the back. Did Mr. Bennett come back in at some point?
I don't remember him coming back in, but like I said, at that point, I went back to paying attention to the Chiefs game.
Okay. As far as you know, there was no additional contact between the two of them. They didn't circle around and meet on the east side of the bar or anything like that that you can tell, right?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
And you never heard anything described in that fashion, correct?
Correct.
Had Mr. Bennett been engaged in stirring up trouble, so to speak, with anybody besides Mr. Burton that evening?
I'm just all the Chiefs fan at the bar. But it's a normal back and forth between us and him. It's
okay. I have heard a version of this event that involves two gentlemen and Mr. Bennett out on the north side after he went out the front door. Did you observe any of that?
no, I never saw anything like that.
Okay. Did you even lay eyes on Mr. Bennett after he went out the door?
I don't think I did.
Okay. And as far as you know, he was never, during the time he was inside there, bleeding in any way, shape, or form, right?
I didn't see, but again, it happened so fast, and Tian and Terry were on them in a second. I didn't even have time to get up to stop it.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
I may have missed this, but was there testimony as to where Michael Bennett was located in relation to Mr. Burton when the incident occurred?
Merle Burton was sitting on the very south end of the bar. Michael Bennett was on the north side of the bar.
At the bar?
Kind of in the aisle behind the stools.
Okay. Does that cause you to have any additional questions, Mr. Jensen?
No, sir. Thank you.
All right. Any redirect, Ms. Gillette?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Any reason why Mr. Helkenberg can be excused?
No, Your Honor.
He can be excused for a second.
All right. You are excused. Thank you for your testimony. You're welcome to stick around if you wish.
All right. Thank you.
Be careful out there.
I appreciate it, Gail. Have a good one.
All right, Ms. Gillette, your next witness.
Judge Terry Chastain, please.
Ms. Chastain, could you please turn on your audio and video, please?
There you go.
All right, if you could raise your right hand, I'll administer an oath. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you may proceed, Ms. Gillette.
Could you please state your name for the record?
Terry Chastain.
And Terry, because this is if it has to be transcribed, it'll be by a court reporter later. Can you please spell your first and last name?
Tericastain.
Thank you. And how were you employed on October 10th of 22?
I'm sorry, what?
How were you employed? Where did you work?
Oh, I work at Benny's.
And what was your job at Benny's?
I'm a cook.
Okay. Now, were you in the bar area that night?
Yeah, I wasn't working that night.
Okay. And who was with you that night in the bar?
My daughter and other people that were there.
Okay. Now, Benny's, is it a restaurant and bar?
Yes,
Okay. So can children be in there before a certain time period?
yes,
Now, was Michael Bennett in the bar?
yes,
And was Mr. Burton in the bar?
yes,
Okay. Now, did you see everything that was transpiring that night?
yes.
Okay. What was Mr. Bennett doing at the beginning of the evening?
He was at the beginning of the evening, he was in there just messing around with my daughter. They were goofing off, talking about the Chiefs game, how she's a Chiefs fan, he's not. He was making fun of her about it.
Is this a normal type of thing with Mr. Bennett and certain people in the bar?
Yes.
Okay. And what's your daughter's name?
Chevelle.
Okay. Does she go by a nickname?
Vel. No, not really much more than that.
Okay. I was told that she's called CC sometimes, or is those just her initials?
That's just her initials.
Okay. Now, when the incident started happening, what was the first thing that you noticed?
I really didn't notice anything happening up until it happened. Merle was sitting at the bar minding his own business. I think he had a nice tea. I can't really remember. It's usually what he drank when he came in. And Michael and my daughter Chevelle were goofing off. Then Merle got up. I thought he was leaving, honestly. And he grabbed Michael by the shirt. He had said something to him along the lines of, "Why don't you shut the F up?" And he hit him. And next thing I know, they're both on the ground.
Okay. Now, what happened with Chevelle when Mr. Burton approached Mr. Bennett?
Chevelle told me, and she's not here to say what she had said for sure, but she said that later she said she felt uncomfortable, so she
Well,
moved.
Don't tell us what she said, but where did she go?
She moved she was standing between, I was on one side and she was in the middle of Michael and I, and she moved over to the other side of me when Merle got up. And then whenever everybody fell, because after Merle had hit Michael, everyone fell to the ground. And after everyone fell, she said, sorry, I guess a bar stool had flown into her because they'd hit a bar stool on the way down. And that's all that she was involved in the whole thing.
Okay. Now, you stuck around and helped out with the situation after it occurred, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, did you end up going outside towards where Mr. Burton went or outside towards where Mr. Bennett went?
I originally went outside to the back patio where nobody was.
Okay. Then where did you go?
After that, I walked through the building. Sorry. I walked through the building out the front door to see where Michael went. I saw Merle leaving, so I walked the opposite direction and I found Michael because they were trying to take care of the bleeding and stuff.
Okay. And who was helping take care of his bleeding?
Tian Mitchell.
Okay. Is Tian another employee?
Yes.
Okay. So Tian was trying to help take care of Michael. Was anyone else hitting Michael on that side of the building or harming him?
No.
And was Tian one of them that helped him out the other door?
Yes.
So was he ever alone out there?
No.
All right. And was there blood from Mr. Bennett?
Oh, yes.
And tell us about the blood. Was there blood inside the restaurant?
I didn't notice any blood inside the restaurant, but I noticed quite a bit on the right outside the front door and the trail leading back to because they walked around the building back to the back side of the kitchen. And there was quite a bit of blood outside the back of the kitchen.
Okay. And did EMS have to come and provide for Michael?
No, I actually had my daughter call Patty and have her come and pick him up.
Can you tell us who Patty is?
Patty is Michael's mother.
And is she also an employee at the bar?
Yes, she is.
Okay. And now I have some report that you helped clean up the blood. Did you end up having to clean up the blood?
I cleaned up some of the blood in the back, but I didn't clean up the blood in the front because they used bleach on it and I'm allergic to that.
Okay. Now, when you say there was quite a bit of blood, how much blood was there? Could you estimate like how big the puddle was?
Out front was probably, I don't know how to like describe that. Like this big. I don't, out back there was much more, but I don't know how to describe a reference to size.
Okay. Do you know like how far in diameter it was?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay. And did you look at Michael's mouth at all to see what the damage was?
No, he was very upset and he was yelling. So I just tried to stay away from his mouth because obviously that's where he had gotten hurt.
Okay.
And it was the following day that we found his tooth outside.
All right. So you did find his tooth outside.
Yes.
Okay. And now you describe Mr. Burton's behavior as he approached over to where Michael was. How would you describe his behavior as he was approaching Michael?
Normal until he grabbed him. I thought he was just getting up to leave. He didn't seem angry, upset, nothing until he grabbed him.
Okay. And so when he grabbed a hold of him, then he hit him after he grabbed him?
Yes, he grabbed him.
Leading and suggestive.
To clarify, can you tell us like slowly in detail, like as much as you can remember?
Like I said, we were sitting there watching the game. Merle was sitting at the end of the bar, which is like, if you've ever been in there, there's a bar table in the corner, and then across from there is the actual bar. And so we weren't very far apart. So we were standing near the tables in the corner. He was sitting at the bar. He got up and started to walk out. Like I said, I thought he was leaving. He grabbed Michael by his shirt like this, and his other hand came up and underneath his jaw and hit him. Michael then was obviously upset and he went after him, and they were hitting each other as they were laying on the ground.
Okay. And do you recall what Mr. Burton said to Michael
Before he hit him?
Yes.
He grabbed him, and what I remember him saying is, "Has anyone ever told you to shut the fuck up?" Sorry about my language.
Okay. And you don't have a copy of your statement in front of you, do you?
I do not.
Do you remember saying that he said, "Listen here, little fucker"?
No, I do not. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. And did you help break up the fight as soon as it happened?
I tried my best, yes.
Your Honor, I will pass this witness to the defense.
Thank you, Ms. Gillette. Cross-examination, Mr. Jensen.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Chastain, how did Mr. Bennett go out the front door?
He was assisted by Tian and a couple patrons that I do not know that were there that night.
The couple patrons you're referring to, do you know who they are?
No, I do not. I think they were out of town hunters. I'm not sure. They were there eating dinner that night.
Okay, now these two gentlemen, uh, did they physically take Mr. Bennett outside?
They helped pull him off Merle and helped take him out the front door. Yes.
Okay. Did these two gentlemen stay outside with Mr. Bennett?
No.
Did they come right back in?
After Tian walked him around to the side of the building. I mean, I don't know where Tian was at that point. I'm sorry. But yes, after they went out the front door, they came back inside.
How long were they outside with Mr. Bennett?
Not even a couple minutes. I'm not entirely for sure the amount of time.
Now, when these two gentlemen that you don't know who they are, that
Mm.
took Mr. Bennett out the front door, when they came back in, did they have blood on them?
No, not that I'm aware of.
There was no blood on the floor, right?
Right. Not inside the building. No.
Only outside.
Yes.
Okay.
He didn't start bleeding. He wasn't bleeding when they were fighting inside. I'm not sure when the
understand.
bleeding
I'm
actually started.
just trying to get the present locations
Okay.
solid. Okay. How far from the front door was anything that you can think to be blood located?
It was right outside, like on the welcome mat that we have. There
Okay.
was blood on and under, like had seeped through the cracks of it.
In what fashion did these two gentlemen um, assist Mr. Bennett out that door? One
I
on
think
each side, each have an arm, or what?
yes, one on each side and help walk him outside.
Okay. Was he resisting them?
Of course, he was upset.
Uh, so he was trying to stay inside the place and they were forcing him out. The two gentlemen that you're referring to, correct?
Essentially, yes.
Did they use any force other than simply grasping an arm and pushing or pulling him towards the door?
Not that I'm aware of.
Did you see any exchange of physical contact between these two gentlemen and Mr. Bennett after they cleared the door?
No.
And the only contact between Mr. Bennett and Mr. Burton occurred inside.
Yes, sir.
You never saw anything close to contact between the two of them outside.
No.
Had Mr. Bennett been drinking?
Yes.
What was he drinking?
A beer. He drinks the Stella. I can't Etoile or something. How do you say that?
The Belgian stuff?
Sure. I'm not sure that's him.
Okay. And Mr. Burton, I think you said, was drinking iced tea.
I believe so. That's what he normally drank, but I can't be 100% certain what was in his cup.
Normally, when he comes in and you are serving him, it's iced tea.
Yes.
And nothing out of the ordinary this particular night.
He was already there when I got there, so I can't tell you what he did or did not order.
Okay. The two gentlemen that were hauling Mr. Bennett out the front door, had they been consuming anything with alcohol in it?
Not that I'm aware of. They were there eating, and I wasn't working that night, so I have no clue what they had or didn't have.
Okay. Was Tia serving them?
She wasn't working that night either. We were there watching the game.
Okay. Who was serving?
Who was the bartender? Sorry, that was so long ago, and we've gone through quite a bit of bartenders. I honestly do not remember who the bartender was.
Okay. Was any effort made to secure video from the cameras inside the place on this matter?
Unfortunately, at that time, our cameras did not work. We since then have gotten new ones, but our cameras did not work.
And does that mean you know it wasn't working, so you told the deputy that not to bother, or did he go look and found out it wasn't working?
I never told him not to bother. I don't remember him asking me about the cameras,
Okay.
honestly, but they haven't worked for actual years. I couldn't even tell you the last time I remember the cameras working.
Okay.
And that's why we've gotten new ones within
Okay.
the last couple months.
And to be clear about it, Mr. Burton didn't need to be assisted out. He voluntarily left the back
Yes.
door, right?
He voluntarily walked out. We asked him to leave. Yes.
And he didn't even attempt to come back inside for any reason.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jensen. Any redirect, Ms. Gillette?
Now, Terry, just to clarify, Tian was with Mr. Bennett the entire time.
After the fight, yes.
Okay. And the two guys that were there to help, they never were left alone with Mr. Bennett, to your knowledge?
No.
No further questions of this witness, Judge.
Mr. Jensen, does that cause you to have additional questions?
Just briefly. Ms. Chastain, did you actually go out, follow Mr. Bennett and those two gentlemen who hauled him outside?
No, I
Go outside when they did.
No, like I've said before, I originally went out the back door to the back patio because
Okay.
I was checking on my daughter, and then I went inside to follow
So
where they had gone through.
whatever may have happened between these two guys and Mr. Bennett out front, you weren't in a position to be able to see or hear anyway, right?
No, I'm just going
You're
off
out
what
back.
I've been told. Sorry. I guess I was going off what I was told. I'm sorry.
All right, does that sufficiently answer your question, Mr. Jensen?
Well, you were told
Mm-hmm.
about something that happened out front that you did not witness.
It wasn't even a whole 2 minutes that I was in the back going out front. I watched Merle leave. I watched him walk to
Right.
his car, and I immediately followed Michael. Michael and Tian were already on the back side of the building whenever I went outside. The two gentlemen were already inside after Michael had gone outside.
You say somebody told you something. Who are you referring to?
Tian.
Okay.
Tian?
That's
Okay.
all I'm concerned about. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, Ms. Gillette, anything further?
Not of this witness, Your Honor.
All right, any reason why Ms. Chastain can't be excused?
No, Your
All right, thank you for your testimony, Ms. Chastain. You are excused. You're welcome to stick around if you wish.
All right. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Gillette, your next witness.
Judge will call Deputy Fisher, please. Are you ready, Deputy Fisher?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Deputy, if you could please raise your right hand. You swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
All right, you may proceed, Ms. Gillette.
Could you please state your name for the record?
Blake D. Fisher
And how are you employed?
by the Greenwood County, Kansas Sheriff's Office
How long have you been so employed?
since December of 2019.
And were you dispatched to an incident that happened at Benny's Bar?
The original dispatch was to the lobby of the sheriff's office, but the incident did take place at Benny's.
Okay. Now, when you had your original dispatch, what was it for?
It was for I believe an altercation that took place.
Okay. And who was the reporting person in the lobby?
Merle Burton.
Okay. And what was Merle upset about on this incident?
His glasses got broke during a physical altercation.
Okay. And did he think that the alleged victim in this case broke his glasses?
I don't believe he thought that the alleged victim, I think he thought somebody else broke his glasses. He said that they were intentionally broken after the altercation took place.
All right. Now, did you respond over to Benny's bar to interview witnesses?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And who did you interview?
I spoke with Terry Chastain, who was the bartender that night, and at the time, Deputy Jared Helkenberg, who was off duty.
Okay. And did you get statements from both of them?
I got a statement from Ms. Chastain. Deputy Helkenberg said he was going to add a supplemental into my case.
Okay. Did he later add a supplement to your case?
To my knowledge, he did. He said he would. I never checked to see if he did or not.
All right. Now, did you ever interview Tian, who was a witness as well in the case?
I don't believe I did, no.
Okay. And did you interview the alleged victim in this matter?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And where did you catch up with the alleged victim at?
At the Greenwood County Sheriff's Office.
Okay. Did he come in to visit with you?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you photograph his injuries?
I did.
What injuries did you notate on the victim?
I believe he had a missing tooth, a chipped tooth, and he had a cut on the inside of his mouth. As I was talking to him, he was still bleeding from his mouth.
Okay. Are you aware if he sought medical attention?
Yeah, I believe I called the EMS to the scene and they said that he would need stitches.
Okay. And did he end up going to the Greenwood County Hospital, to your knowledge?
To my knowledge, yes, he did.
All right. Did you obtain any records from the hospital regarding his injuries?
I don't believe I did.
Now, with the witnesses being interviewed, was Mr. Burton's statements consistent with the witnesses?
Sort of. I mean, they went back and forth. Burton's statements just were like he was provoking the situation.
Okay. Now, Bennett, the victim, was his statements consistent with the witnesses?
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to restate that.
Was the victim Bennett's statements consistent with the witnesses?
To my knowledge, yes.
Okay. Now, from your investigation, who did you believe was the aggressor in the matter?
Objection, Your Honor. That invades the province of the court. Ask for an opinion without sufficient foundation, as he did not witness any of the occurrences, only interviewed others.
Judge, you're muted.
Sorry, sustained.
Now, did you believe there was reason to take Mr. Bennett, the alleged victim, into custody?
I did.
Okay. And did you believe there was reason to take Mr. Burton into custody?
Okay, I apologize. There was no reason to take Bennett. There was a reason to take Burton.
Okay. And did you find Mr. Burton later that night?
Yes, I did.
And where did you locate Mr. Burton?
At another bar called VFW, still in Eureka.
Okay. Now, did you witness any of the blood that was on the ground outside the restaurant?
Yes, ma'am, and I believe I took pictures of it.
And was the staff trying to help clean all that up when you were there?
Yes, I believe I was told there was bleach poured on it as an attempt to get it removed.
Okay. All right. And now, in the course of your investigation, did you determine past the missing tooth what the end damages were to Mr. Bennett?
Like the final damages, like what completely happened to him, or
Yes.
I'm just the missing
Correct.
tooth.
This witness can only testify to what he saw and perceived. Any final conclusion as to total damages is not within the scope of his knowledge as a law enforcement officer. He's not a doctor.
We
Could
can
you
find out if
rephrase
he.
the question, Ms. Gillette?
Did you talk to any medical personnel or Mr. Bennett after your initial investigation to see if there were more damages that were from the medical professionals?
I don't believe I did with medical professionals. I think I talked to his mother afterward, and she had told me that he did have to have stitches, but I don't remember exactly how many he had to have.
I will pass this witness, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Gillette. Cross-examination, Mr. Jensen.
Thank you, sir. Deputy, did you take pictures of Mr. Burton at all?
I don't recall if I did or not.
Did Mr. Burton ask you to make an observation as to whether he had any injuries to his hands that would be consistent with throwing punches?
Yeah, I believe he did. I believe he showed me his hands, and he took off his hat and was making statements like, "Look, I was attacked too." I at the time I don't believe I saw anything that would indicate he was in a physical altercation and he was the victim.
Did you see? Did Mr. Burton hold out for your review his forearms between his wrists and his elbows to demonstrate any effort at blocking punches or blows?
I don't recall, sir.
You didn't take any pictures then?
I don't recall. If I did, they'd be in the case jacket.
Okay, that's all I've got. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Jensen. Any redirect, Ms. Gillette?
From the witness statements, Deputy, would any blows that Mr. Burton would have been defending would have been after the initial aggression by Mr. Burton?
Objection, Your Honor. He's
And
being asked to draw conclusions from other witnesses' statements where he was not present, once again invading the province of the court and making findings.
Judge, those witnesses have been here to testify. They have already testified that Mr. Burton threw the first punch and that any hit grabs of Mr. Bennett were.
the objection was sustained.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Right. Any reason why Deputy Fisher can't be excused?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you for your testimony, Deputy. You are excused. You're welcome to stick around if you wish.
Thank you. You guys have a good weekend.
You too. Your next witness, Ms. Gillette.
Judge Michael Bennett, please.
Is he at the Greenwood County Courthouse?
He and his mom were supposed to be logging in, so they may be here at the courthouse. Mr. Bennett, can you adjust the camera so we can see you? Hi, Mr. Bennett. Is your mom with you as well?
He left somewhere.
Okay.
All right,
And-
you're Michael Bennett.
Yes, sir.
All right, could you please raise your right hand? I'll administer an oath. You swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right, Ms. Gillette, you may proceed.
Could you please state your name for the record?
Me?
Yes. Can you please tell us your name?
Michael Bennett.
And Mike, so have you had any mental health issues?
Yeah.
Okay. Does that sometimes affect your abilities?
Yeah.
Now, do you remember having an altercation with Mr. Burton?
Objection, Your Honor. At this point, we have a statement by this witness, he has mental health issues, and that it affects his ability in some way
Fuck you, dude.
to function.
Mr. Bennett, refrain from the language, please.
And what we don't know is what is the condition and how does it affect? Because any witness, if they are suffering from some kind of condition that in any way inhibits their ability to understand and perceive the events as they occurred or the questions and properly formulate valid answers, any problems in that area would render the testimony inadmissible. So it doesn't meet the threshold level. I think further inquiry needs to be made as to what the condition is and what effects it has before we simply jump into the rest of this matter without that inquiry.
If Mr. Jensen would let me get through my questions, a lot of that would be answered.
All right, could you flesh that out, please, Ms. Gillette?
Mr. Bennett, do you take mental health meds?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you currently on your mental health meds?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you needed care, in care before?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And are you impaired today, or are you doing well to testify today?
I'm good.
Okay. And Mr. Bennett, do you remember having an incident with Mr. Burton?
Yep.
Do you remember the exact date?
November. No.
Okay. Now, is it hard for you to remember dates due to you having some of your mental issues that you have?
Yeah.
Okay. But do you remember what happened that night?
Yep.
Let me interrupt. Mr. Bennett, since we are taking a record, if you could please answer questions either yes or no, so the record's clear, please.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right, go ahead, Ms. Gillette.
Now, Mr. Bennett, were you hanging out with Chevelle and her mom, Terry?
Yes, ma'am.
And are you a Chiefs fan?
No, not too much.
Okay. And was the Chiefs game playing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you sometimes make fun of the Chiefs?
Sometimes, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did you make fun of the Chiefs that night?
I was cheering on Devontae Adams on the Raiders. Yes, but yes.
Okay. Do you like the Raiders?
Not too much, but I like Devontae Adams.
Okay. And at some point, did Mr. Burton come near you?
Yes, ma'am.
What happened when he came near you?
He hit me out of nowhere, and I don't remember.
Did you guys end up on the floor?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, did anyone else hit you after Mr. Burton hit you?
No, ma'am.
And who helped you outside?
Tian and Terry.
Okay. Were there any other people helping you outside?
I don't remember.
Okay. And was Tian with you the entire time after you were hit?
Yes, ma'am.
And was she with you till your mom got there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, who walked you around the bar from the front to the back?
Tian, I think.
And did you lose any teeth?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you go to the hospital that night?
Yes, ma'am.
What was the results of your x-rays?
Broken jaw.
Objection, Your Honor. The reasons for x-rays is usually a medical decision unless he has medical credentials. It's opinion without foundation.
Can
He
you
can-
rephrase the question, Ms. Gillette?
Were you informed you had a broken jaw?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you end up having your jaw wired shut for it to heal?
Yes, ma'am.
And how long was your jaw wired shut for? Was it weeks?
Weeks, yeah.
Did you have to have any surgery?
Yeah.
And where did you have surgery at?
In Wichita.
And were you put on a liquid diet?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have to drink through straws?
Objection, Your Honor. Relevancy and materiality.
Overruled.
Did you have to drink through straws?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you were you able to sleep well during that time?
No, ma'am.
And did you have to have pain meds to deal with the pain of it?
Yes, ma'am.
And did the things that Mr. Burton was saying to you, did they upset you?
I didn't say nothing to him and he didn't say nothing to me. He just came up and hit me.
All right, so you don't recall him making any statements to you?
Something I talk too much or some dumb stuff, but no,
Okay, so he just said you talk too much or something like that?
something like that.
Okay. All right. And do you remember any hunters helping you or other guys that were in the bar helping you outside with TM?
There was other people separating us, yeah, but I don't remember who.
Okay. And did anyone else hit you in your jaw during that time?
No, ma'am.
I will pass this witness, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Gillette. Cross-examination, Mr. Jensen.
Mr. Bennett, you were in court the other day in front of Judge Webster. Is that right?
When?
You were in court recently in front of Judge Webster with charges filed against you. Is that right?
That's right.
Objection relevant. Unless it's a crime of dishonesty, anything that he has is inadmissible against attacking the character of a victim.
My next question is, what was the nature of those charges?
I'll allow it.
What?
You can answer the question, Mr. Bennett.
One more time?
What was the nature? What kind of charges are we talking about?
I don't remember.
When were you in front of Judge Webster?
I don't remember.
It was within the last month, right?
I do not remember.
Okay. At the time that this event happened down at Benny's, were you taking your meds?
I wasn't on meds back then.
So your condition hadn't been treated yet.
My
Is that right?
Yep.
If I needed to determine what kind of condition we're talking about, what doctor would I ask?
I don't know.
You're not seeing a doctor?
I don't know her name.
Can you tell me the location of this doctor?
Crosswinds.
Where is Crosswinds?
Eureka.
In Eureka?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you had not seen this doctor at the time these things occurred at Benny's, is that correct?
I don't know.
Do you know whether you were prescribed the meds that we're talking about?
I don't know nothing, nigga.
So would it be correct to say you cannot assure me that the problems you have that cause you difficulty understanding and dealing with recollections and events, whether they were active and not treated at the time, or whether you were taking medication at the
Me
time?
taking medications has nothing to do with him fucking assaulting me because he's.
Mr. Bennett, you just
I'm
need,
sorry.
Mr. Bennett, you just need to ask the question that's been asked of you, please.
What is the question?
Is it correct to say that today you do not know whether you were taking medication on the day that this event happened at Benny's, or
Correct.
whether you had not been prescribed medication yet because it was not treated?
Was I on medication?
Mr. Bennett, you can't seek assistance on any questions.
No.
You don't know?
No, I don't know.
So in turn, then, you can't assure us that you have an accurate recollection of all that occurred on that day.
That I can. That much I do remember.
Even though you weren't taking any of your medications that affect your.
No, I was not taking no medication that affects my ability to remember shit. Yes, I remember.
Andy. Nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jensen. Any redirect, Ms. Gillette?
Not of this witness. We will call his mom if Mr. Bennett can go get his mom for me.
All right, Mr. Bennett, thank you for your testimony. You're excused. If you could send your mom in, please.
Right, like you, here, Michael.
All right, ma'am, I'm going to have you raise your right hand. I'm going to administer an oath. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes.
All right, Ms. Gillette, you may proceed.
Could you please state your name for the record?
Patricia Connard,
And Patricia, could you please spell your first and last name just in case a court reporter transcribes this?
Patricia, Connard, Conard.
Okay. Now, Patricia, we know that Michael has some mental health issues, and most of that has been recent. But you help him manage some of his medical stuff. Is that accurate?
Yes,
Okay. And did you help him with all of his medical stuff and transporting him after this incident?
Yes.
Do you recall where you transported him to for x-rays and further medical attention?
That would be the Greenwood County Hospital here in Eureka.
Okay, do you recall which doctor saw him that day?
No.
Okay. After he had his x-rays and it indicated he had a fracture, did you
Objection,
transport?
Your Honor. Counsel's testifying as to what x-rays indicated that are not in
What
Sustained.
what was told to you about his x-rays? Did he have a fracture?
He had a fractured jaw and he would have to see a
Objection, Your
specialist.
Honor. Again, this assumes facts not in evidence. Somebody told her. Who? We don't know. Why? We don't know. We're
The
assuming
emergency
facts
room
have been
doctor.
admitted into evidence.
Hold on, the objection is sustained.
Now, did you end up having to transport him for specialists in Wichita?
Yes,
And did he end up having surgery in Wichita?
he did. Yes.
What was the surgery for?
For a broken jaw.
And when he had the surgery, do you remember what surgeon performed the surgery for him?
No, I would have that in my paperwork at home.
Okay. Would it help if I brought you up a copy of the bills you have presented to us?
Yes.
Your Honor, may she refer to the bills she's presented to the state? The defense has been provided, well, should be provided a copy of them from the victim impact statement.
What are you wanting to present?
She brought us in the bills for her son's surgeries.
What's the purpose of the bills being introduced for a preliminary hearing?
It shows that he had surgery for a fractured jaw. It lists on there it was a fracture from the hospital and for the surgery.
Mr. Jensen, have you seen these bills?
Let me look.
Mr. Jensen is follow-up counsel for Mr. Burton, and the victim impact statement would have been provided to prior counselor, Mr. Alamang and Mr. Jensen.
Well, they're not in my file here. I thought I had everything. I thought that forwarding counsel had sent us everything that he has, but I haven't spoken with him to ask him to reassure me of that. But I do not see medical bills in the file that, as it is now constituted. Frankly, Your Honor, for purposes of preliminary hearing, I'll stipulate he had surgery on a broken jaw.
All right.
Now, Ms. Kennard, did you have to feed your son a liquid diet?
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor, not relevant or material.
Overruled.
And how long was his jaw wired shut before they could remove the wires?
It was supposed to be 6 to 8 weeks. He took the wires out after a week.
Okay. And did he have to have the wires put back in?
He refused.
Okay. Did he have to have a liquid diet after that?
Yes.
Okay. How long was he on a liquid diet?
Six weeks.
All right. And is he still receiving any medical care for this incident?
No, not at the moment because we can't afford it.
All right. Your Honor, I will pass this witness.
Thank you, Ms. Gillette. Cross-examination, Mr. Jensen.
Ma'am, do you know who at Crossroads prescribes medication for your son?
Crosswinds.
Yes, crosswinds, excuse me.
Lindsay, I'm not sure her last name.
Okay. Do you know when he started taking those medications?
Right after his hospitalization.
After October 10th of last year.
No. He's been taking this medication for 6 weeks or so.
As of this time today, he's been taking it for about 6 weeks. Is that
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But before that,
Before that, no.
do you know what the medication is?
Depakote is what he is taking today.
Do you know why?
Depression.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jensen. Any redirect, Ms. Gillette?
No, Your Honor.
All right, any reason why Ms. Kennard cannot be excused?
No, Your
No.
Honor.
All right, thank you, Ms. Kennard, for your testimony. You are free to go at this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Gillette, do you have additional witnesses?
No, Your Honor, the state will rest.
Mr. Jensen, do you intend to present any evidence today?
No, Your Honor, but for the record, Robin double checked on the file. We did not receive any medical bills from prior counsel. So I would ask that those be, we'll try and get a hold of him and see if we can, somehow they didn't get in the package that came down. But we may need to request that a copy be provided by the county attorney's office. Also, given the situation, we would ask that the court allow access to any and all files that relate to the pending charges against Mr. Bennett from the county attorney's office and criminal history of Mr. Bennett, please.
All right, Ms. Gillette?
Judge, I can give them what is crimes of dishonesty. That's what's allowable under the law. And the current complaint is public record.
Well, it
How
may
does
be
one-
public record what he's charged with, but the circumstances surrounding aren't.
What exactly are you requesting, Mr. Jensen?
The file, the county attorney's file on that case.
The affidavits are not public record and are not discoverable. Only crimes of conviction are allowed to impeach a witness.
To the extent that they go to this witness's ability to function in terms of being able to perceive and communicate effectively about events, they are relevant and material.
They are not.
Treated for mental illness.
One at a time, please.
That he has already said affects his ability to recall, to see and understand events, and to properly describe them. It's from him, not me. And if this other case involves the same or similar events, that's discoverable.
What I'm going to do for now is I'll order that the complaint be provided. Is my understanding, Mr. Jensen, you don't know what he's been charged with. Is that accurate?
I don't at all. No, I
Okay.
just was recently advised that he was in court in front of
All right.
Judge Webster, and that's all I know.
Upon receiving the charging document, if you feel it necessitates further information from the file, it can be readdressed at that time.
Okay, that's fine.
Ms. Gillette, do you wish to make any closing remarks?
Your Honor, the witnesses all show that Mr. Burton was the initial aggressor in this matter. There's no intervening factors. This victim has had a broken jaw that had to be wired shut. is missing a tooth and chipped another tooth, that required him to have to be fed a liquid diet for 6 weeks. This is a situation where great bodily harm with disfigurement could happen. The loss of a tooth is disfigurement. It's anything more than a simple bruise according to case law. So the loss of a tooth is disfigurement. The breaking of a jaw is also. We'd ask for the court to bind the defendant over on the aggravated battery felony charge. The misdemeanor would continue with the aggravated battery, please.
Thank you, Ms. Gillette. Mr. Jensen, do you wish to make any closing remarks?
We aren't even close to a class or a level 4 aggravated battery in this matter. Your Honor, this case should be dismissed at this time. The best it comes out is a B misdemeanor simple battery. That's it.
All right, thank you, Mr. Jensen. The court has had the opportunity to hear the testimony that's been presented today. The court does find probable cause to believe that Mr. Burton did knowingly cause great bodily harm to another person or disfigurement of another person. Will therefore bind Mr. Burton over for trial. We'll proceed to arraignment at this time. Mr. Jensen, does your client desire a formal reading of the charges?
We'll wait for formal reading of our not guilty plea, request jury trial.
All right, I'll show a not guilty plea being entered. Angela, I don't have my Greenwood County court dates sheets in here. When would be an appropriate time to set this for trial?
Well, our next one is December 12th, but I think that'd probably be too soon.
Probably not going to work for December 12th. What about the next one?
Thank you. Okay.
I have April 2nd and 3rd.
That is correct, April 2nd.
All right, pretrial conference will be March 28th at 9 o'clock. That's an in-person setting. March 28th at 9 o'clock for pretrial conference. Jury trial would begin April the 2nd at 9 o'clock. Also in person, Mr. Burton, both of those settings are in-person hearings at the Greenwood County Courthouse in Eureka. You will need to be personally present for those hearings. And Ms. Gillette, I trust your office will be able to provide Mr. Jensen with copies of these medical records.
The medical bills that are in my possession, yes. I plan on either subpoenaing or having copies of the medical records subpoenaed or search warrants. So if I get any additional medical records, I will send copies over to Mr. Jensen as my ongoing open file policy. But since he is retained, there will be a copy fee.
All right, and Mr. Jensen, if you wish to bring the matter back before the court regarding the information on Mr. Bennett's other pending case, just get with Angela, and if we need to set a date to hear that, we can.
Yeah, we ought to be able to find some time between now and March.
Well, we'd like to think we could.
Yeah, good point.
All right, are there any other matters we need to address at this time?
Not at this time, thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone. If there's nothing further, we'll be in recess. Have a good weekend.